Okay, welcome back to City of Island Fishing Field Team, COAF Field Team. I'm Glenn. In this round, we're going to be talking about some learn to fish by our trials and error classic example. Well, in this case, we're actually going to show specific super secret spots that some of our subscribers may be interested in when they decide to fish the Blue River. In particular, we're talking about Hughes crossing. Okay, so here we are at the Blue River checking out Hughes Crossing. So here is Hughes Crossing. We've marked out some super secret spots that we want to talk about in particular. And we'll just kind of drill down here in the next view. But here's a few spots. We've named them. There's no real name that we know what to call them, but we're just going to call them what we listed here. So do stay tuned. Okay, so let's start things off with what we're calling the rock right over here. There's the rock, the ledge, and then we're calling it Wade 3. And then off over here on this side, we call it Bank 1, Wade 2, Bank 8, and Bank 9. And what we did was we just started counting clockwise some specific areas and just started numbering of them. But we'll go into more detail as to what we are wanting to show you here. So let's go bring out the screenwriting screen here, right there. Okay, so here is the rock. This is right here, and it's like a little outcropping-like area that kind of goes around like this. And the way you get there is you'll come along the low water crossing right here, this area here. This is the low water crossing. You'll come back around, follow this trail, and you'll cut through, get into some water, and you'll be right on this rock. And you can station yourself just over here where the pin is, and what you're doing is you're kind of fanning your way out, looking for a couple of runs. And when we say a couple of runs, what we're talking about is this area right here where there's a tree, but we'll go ahead and just kind of line it out. There's a run that kind of comes here, gets shallow right at the tip of this line, and then it'll start dropping again. And then right in this whole area here is another hole. So you've got a nice big hole here, another hole just about right here that are excellent opportunities for some trout that are holding. Additionally, they'll be up in this area here along that run that we just mentioned a moment ago, and then all along this bank they'll kind of hover around here as well. It'll get shallow, and you'll see it when you have your polarized glasses. It'll get really shallow in this area, but do let your fly drift through it, as it's a good opportunity for one of those guys to take. Okay, so that was the rock. Super secret spot, the rock. The key about the rock is you got to get there early because someone else will be there typically. So if you want to fish it, get there early. Okay, so let's skip over to the ledge. Okay, as you come down the parking area, you'll walk along to the water crossing and look for this rock here, and then start looking out in this area for a ledge. Okay, so there'll be a bunch of rocks, and you'll start seeing a rocky area here that will butt itself, and this whole area is rocky, and sort of like a little outcropping area from this rock. You'll come out here and just make sure you have your wading stick, because you could slip easily, and there's a little gap here and there, so you have your polarized glasses. But walk yourself out, or wade yourself out to this ledge here. And that gives you this opportunity to fish this area here where we were talking about, where you were getting to it from the rock. You got that hole here as well. You got a set of rocks here where there's some excellent opportunity for some trout that are lingering here, as well as coming through this area here. All right, so good stuff. So this is the ledge, and it's a good spot to orient yourself and be able to fish here. And like I said, you need to get there early, as it usually gets taken pretty quickly. Okay. Additionally, we were talking about this area here. You can see how it's rocky. So it does get shallow like we were saying earlier, but the fish will tend to come up and over into the next hole. So do keep an eye out, and those polarized glasses will definitely make a big difference. If you don't have polarized glasses, then you can blind cast just knowing that you have these areas to fish. And then, fortunately, because of the recent rains here, it may be murky, and so you'll be kind of guessing where those locations are. So just see where these rocks are and kind of position yourself to where you'll have your fly run through a particular money zone. Alright, so that was the ledge. Okay, so after the ledge, the next place we want to talk about is Wade 3. Okay, and why we call it Wade 3? Well, it's really talking about this whole area here. All along here, Wade 3. And what you're doing is you'll see the bubble line, you'll see some key areas where there's some water flowing. Right here, going over the waterfall. Right, and along here, and over here. Okay, and what you're doing is you're kind of working that bubble line and those current for those fish that may be lurking all along this whole area here. So all along this area they could be working or kind of lingering, as well as here and then along here. Okay, there is a rock that's right here that you'll sometimes see them kind of lingering, as well as a few rocks that are out in this area as well. Keep an eye there for any fish. And that is Wade 3. And so what you're doing is you're coming in and you're pretty much just hopping each of these locations, looking for an opportunity for a fish or two, as well as out here in this area, as you let your fly drift all along. Well, it's going to actually be down this way as well. You have a good opportunity for some trout at Wade 3. Okay, so the next spot we want to talk about is Bank 1. So what happens is as you come along from the parking area, you'll wade across, come through these rocky areas, look for a little path that'll take you back down here to this bank. You can also go back this way to get some other areas, but where we're talking in particular is just taking this cut right here. Alright, and what you're doing is you're setting up. There'll be a tree here. It may have fell down. There were some other trees here and they got washed away. It used to have a ton of stuff, so it may have some brush now instead of the big trees that were there previously. And what this does is it gives you access to this whole area here. Alright, and what you're looking for is there's a nice little run here. They'll be lingering. All back over here they'll be lingering as well. Which, guess what? There's Bank 9 that gives you that also, that same access. It's just it's a little bit harder to get there because of the high bank. It'll be a lot higher here to get down to the water, and there's a lot of brush. Same thing with Bank 8 and Wade 1. Okay, but anywhere you situate here, what you're doing is you're looking for activity in this area here and to fish it. You'll sometimes see them lingering all along behind this rock, as well as back and forward of that rock, as well as that little run that comes through here. But the key is you're in the right position to cast into those various areas. From a fly fishing standpoint, you may have to do a lot of roll casting, but you'll still be able to have a good opportunity to get something here at Bank 1, as well as Bank 9. Bank 9 is more of traditional fishing gear, so fly casting is going to be pretty tough. You may be able to situate in this area here if you wade in the water and fly cast this way, as well as setting up anywhere along this area. Just be careful. It's rocky here. It gets deep fairly quickly, but if you got some chest waders, you should be all right. And just make sure you got your wading stick as well. So we're talking about Bank 1, but if you just go further down river to Wade 1, right here, you'll be able to access this area, because it'll be about a good 2-foot drop here from the bank to the water. So if you come back here, you'll be able to access the water. Come right here, and there's some rocky areas, and with your wading stick, you should be able to navigate those rocks and situate yourself so you can get some good cast out in this area here. Okay. And what you're doing is, again, working the area for any opportunity for some trout that are lingering in the area. So that is Wade 1. Okay, next area from Wade 1, we'll hop over to Wade 2. and here you're kind of being able to situate in the water a little bit. There's a little waterfall like thing that you'll contend with, but should be able to access the bank here as well as do some wade fishing. Wade 2, and you're trying to hit these areas all along here, across, for any opportunity for some fish to be hitting. Kind of gets a little bit shallow, but then it gets deeper. You'll see that boulders and little and rocks that you'll be looking for those shadows where those trout will be hanging out. So that was wade 2. Also, we mentioned about bank 8 right here across. Basically, from wade 1, you're pretty much working this area here, as well as the mid-river area. And then again, bank 9 that we talked about earlier as well. You're kind of working your way this way as well. Okay. And all along here, you'll see, or you'll hear some trout being moving about along this, probably an undercut bank or a lot of brush and whatnot. So good to keep an eye out for that fish activity. Let's go ahead and clean up this. All right, so wade 2. All right, going to bank 2 next is this one right here. And what will happen is as you come along this trail, going through the bank, there's some water area you'll contend with. You'll get through that, come around the tree, and you'll get to this other side of the tree, and you'll have this blocking you, a tree, but it does give you good access to this area here to try fishing. You can work your way all along this area as well, between bank 2 and bank 3, and do the same thing, work your way here. It'll get shallow in this area, but all along here there's a good opportunity to take fish. And that being said, the key areas that you're looking for is just anywhere along this undercut bank, in the middle right here, and then you got a couple areas here that you'll be interested in, as well as sometimes you'll just see them kind of hovering around this area here as well. Alright, so all these are good accessible locations. Just key is getting there early enough to fish. Alright, so let's go ahead and take it down to the falls. So let's go and run from well, we'll just kind of hop wade 2, bank 2, bank 3, bank 4. Over here you want to be careful, a lot of wet rocks and water flowing, so got to play that by ear depending on the water flow. And here at bank 4 you're working this area here as well as this area here. Alright, so the waterfall is going to come over here. It's going to be a waterfall right here. You can see all the white water that's right along this area. And you're kind of working your fly, your spoons, or your lures in this area, looking for those bites. And so that's bank 4. If you can work your way across this way and cut over some rocks and make it up here, it gets really high, and then back down again, give you access to this area here, all along here, for some fishing opportunity. Alright, if not, you'll have to go back around, go back to the crossing, and then get on the other side here. But so if you came out from this way, you can go along this trail to bank 7. Actually, I think it's up here and then down, and then you'll come back around, come down to bank 6, come back around, go down, bank 7, or work your way this other way. Alright, and so let's go bank, this was bank 5 right here. Bank 7, same opportunity like you were getting in wade 2, but now you're able to get under this undercut bank area. Bank 6, same thing, there's a deeper water in that undercut. And then bank 5, deeper water along this area here, and then an undercut. And so those are some key areas to keep in mind when you're thinking about fishing the Blue River. What we tend to do when we go fishing, starting out early, we'll come to the parking area, head to the crossing, and we'll just start looking with our polarized glasses. If it's real busy, and these spots are taken. We'll kind of work our way around here and see if we can again see any fish activity. Since we tend to fly fish, we kind of skip these areas here, mainly because it's tough to fly fish with that high bank and all those trees and whatnot, but it does get some good activity or action for trout when you're working that area. Alright. Next thing we like doing when it comes to working this area is further downstream. You'll see a lot more things. We could talk about that next round, but just to leave you hanging, let's go and just point out some key takeaways of this area further downstream. Okay, so here's where we were talking about a moment ago. Alright, so that's the river that's upstream from the low water crossing. This is the low water crossing right here. Okay, and what we're going to talk about next is further downstream from the low water crossing. So instead of going this way, we're going to cut around over here and work our way, kind of skip this area and let other folks fish this area here, and we'll tend to come down all the way down here and work our way to this area here and work kind of this area. Alright, immediately here, as well as from a little island that's kind of been beat up, but we'll work our way here. So keep that in mind next time you go, or next time we go into more detail. Kind of want to remember these spots. Okay, and let's see, this was the island. There's a little undercut area or rocks here that you can situate yourself waiting, and you'll see a lot of folks fish this area here. And then there's a nice little run that comes down this way, and that's always one to play around with and look for some good opportunity. It's shallower than this area here, the main river, but it does have some good opportunities for some fish. Alright, so that's all for now on our super secret spots. It's not really super secret, but they are ones that we tend to go to looking for fish, and the key is polarized glasses. Work those areas where you visually see them. If you don't see them, kind of play it by ear, and just remember the structure from Google Maps or some other reference that you can take a look at, maybe in this video in this case. Alright, next time we'll catch you all later, and good luck and good fishing.